My name is the Bad Boy Joey Janela. I am I'm a crazy, crazy wrestler from the United States, and we're bringing our crazy brand of wrestling to Australia. Finally, a lot of fans been waiting for it. Game Changer Wrestling. Um, we've been we've been waiting to bring it over for a long while now, and the fans wanted us to come over, so we're doing it, and we're gonna see how things flow, and maybe we can make this a yearly deal, a yearly stop on the GCW tour.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for joining us today.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so as you say, man, you're making your way to Australia with the Game Changer Wrestling team to declare war on Australia's Renegades of Wrestling. The 3 nights of entertainment starting on August 25th in Sydney before going to Melbourne and Brisbane over consecutive days. So sounds like a massive couple of days for you, mate.
Yeah, a lot of drinking.
Is that why you're wrestling or before or during or after?
At all times in Australia. Where I'm going to be jet lagged the entire time, so it could be at any time.
And as you say, this is going to be your first time ever bringing Game Changer Wrestling to Australia. So, what are you actually expecting?
I'm expecting a lot of energy. I'm expecting, you know, not a lot of sleep, and I'm expecting a lot of great professional wrestling.
So, what are you actually expecting from your opposition and the hometown fans?
I've been to Australia a few times. I usually come once a year.
Yeah.
It's always one of the highlights of my year. You know, it's one of my favorite places to visit. Some of the best fans, the best bars, and the best women. So three of my favorite things, and great professional wrestling, great wrestlers over there, and you know, usually if we're coming over, usually sometimes it's nice weather. I don't know. It depends on what time we get. What's the weather going to be like this time? I don't
It's
even
going
know
to be
what
not too
season.
bad. Tail end of winter, so not too bad.
Yeah, I usually come over because I've been over a couple times in you know June, and Melbourne can get a little bit of frigid at night.
That's
And
a
I
good word for
forget I forget what month it is. I forget what season it is over there and it's over here, and I you know
it. And
don't pack appropriately.
but make sure you do. It's going to be a little bit cold down in Sydney and Melbourne, so pack at least one jumper.
But yeah, one jumper for sure.
And do you do your homework on the wrestlers? Like, do you watch a bit of footage of what Australian wrestlers do so you know what you're up for, or do you just get in there and take what's in front of you?
Yeah, with social media and Twitter and stuff, I've also been there a few times. It's a lot easier to, you know, keep track and see who's coming up on whatever scene. And I'm familiar with a lot of wrestlers, and and there's a lot of talent coming from Australia right now. It wasn't that wasn't the situation 10 years ago. So they're kind of branching out now, coming to US or going to Japan, and they're coming to you know mainstream television, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like that 10 years ago. Australia was kind of a hard place to get out of, but now it's picking up, and some of the greatest wrestling prospects in the world come from Australia now. So it's pretty sick.
Yeah. And how do you actually mentally and physically prepare yourself for something like 3 rounds and matches over 3 days on the other side of the world?
And I don't even know how I do it anymore. It's kind of sometimes you're on this what do they call that, self drive mode, where it's I do this every like this week. I only have one match tomorrow in Detroit, Michigan, and for GCW. And the last couple of weeks I've kind of taken it easy, but then next week I'm in North Dakota. I don't know if you guys know where the hell fuck that is. And then I'm in next day I'm in LA, Los Angeles, and then 2 days after that I'm in Mexico. So it's kind of a weekly thing for me. Um, but I know when I'm coming to Australia, there's not going to be a lot of sleep because the boys are going to want to party afterwards. The American wrestlers are going to want to party, and all my Aussie boys are going to want to party as well because they're all fucking they're sickos. So
And Billy Corgan brought his wrestlers out here earlier this year, mate, and I think he was surprised at the high level of competition from the Aussie team. So you're going to make the same mistake of underestimating them?
uh no, I know what I'm getting myself into. Billy Corgan has some okay wrestlers, but they're no GCW wrestlers.
And GCW's already taken off in the US and Japan, the UK, and Mexico, like you said. So,
Yeah,
how are you going to make it take off over here, do you think?
I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be a yearly stop on our tour. We're traveling, we're selling on places all over the world right now. And the growth has been crazy. I've been there since the beginning. I'm the only wrestler that's been there since the first show. So I couldn't predict where we were going to be 5 years ago, and I'm not going to be able to predict now where we're going to be 5 years. I just hope my bank account increases. So Brett, you better pay me more.
Cool. So tell us about your wrestling style, mate. Like, what's your signature move?
I have a lot of signature moves. My best signature move is dropping people on their necks.
Well, you thought
So
that
it can come from any direction. It can come from the side. It can come from a pile driver. It can come from something called a Death Valley driver, where I just put you in a fireman's carry and plunge you on your neck. That's my favorite move, is watching people, watching me nearly decapitate people.
So,
But I have a lot of vast. My style is very. I have all the flavors of ice cream. My style. I'm one of the most versatile wrestlers in the world today. I wrestle all over the world. My main place is Game Changer Wrestling GCW, but I wrestle all over the place, and whatever opponent you put in front of me, I can kind of like a chameleon and adapt to that style, and that's what I think. That's what makes me appealing to the fans.
yeah, cool. So introduce us to some of the other wrestlers, mate, and tell us their weak points so I can pass them on to the Aussies.
Oh, and I'm not gonna tell them the weak points. But there's a lot of great wrestlers coming over this time. Vikingo, he's the biggest star in Mexico right now. He's making his first rounds in Australia with us. Maki Itoh, she's a top women's wrestler from Japan in the world right now. Very charismatic. She's making her first rounds with GCW in Australia. And Gringo Loco, he's another one, Mexico, United States, huge indie name right now. Effy and Allie Katch, tag team, but they're intergender. It's a man and a woman. And they go by the name Bussy, which might not be a slang for anything in Australia, but for here it's for fun and craziness. So
Right, yeah.
they're coming over for the first time. Effie's been over there with me for a different promotion, but Allison has never been over there, and it's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have a lot of fun, and it's gonna be a pretty wild 3 days for the fans and for the wrestlers.
Wrestling's always had a strong association with hard rock and metal music, mate. So, what are some of your team's entrance songs?
Oh, the big one is one of the top metal. Nick Gage is not coming over there because he's a convicted felon. He's probably our top guy in GCW. He's the most named synonymous besides myself with GCW. For years, his theme has been Metallica, "For Whom the Bells Toll,"
Yeah.
which is probably one of the greatest, most energetic entrances in professional wrestling, whether it be on the independents or mainstream level. His entrance is always the most electric, thanks to his energy and Metallica's energy.
What's your song?
Mine is by a French DJ Kavinsky, which it's not really metal, but it's kind of like that synth wave, like that 80s car chase music kind of. If I had to compare it to anything, and it really is. It's a good entrance song, and many people do enjoy it. So
I remember watching wrestling about 30 years ago, mate, and hearing people say that it was a passing phase and it would never last. So those fuckers are eating their words right now. But what is it do you think keeps people coming back to wrestling?
it's like no other. It's like nothing else in the world of entertainment. Mixed martial arts has come around, and you know they're kind of in the same realm, but also not as professional wrestling. But professional wrestling is still you can someone can write these ridiculous things, and that maybe what you're seeing is choreographed, but what you see, you also know these guys are getting extremely beaten and hurt during a match and telling a story with their bodies. And I think that's the art of it. It's telling a story with your bodies, and it's like nothing else, and that's why it's people thought it was going to be a phase, and it's lasted through the '80s, blew up again in the '90s. Now we're at another boom point now. That of course it will never be as big as it was at one point because it's different now when there was only cable television at those times and those people gathered around their TVs and you only had you only had six channels and that was one of the things people like to watch. So it will never be back to that level, but right now it kind of with the social media era and everything else combined, it's kind of back to a boom era and kind of a high point of the business.
All right, Joey. Well, thanks very much for your time today, mate. You will be out here from August the 25 with Game Changer Wrestling to take on Australia's Renegades of Wrestling. I'm going to be driving you when you hit Brisbane, mate. So I'll see you at the Brisbane airport and we'll catch up for a few beers.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that, and I've never been to that part of Australia, Brisbane, so I look forward to it.
You'll be in my backyard, brother. I'll make sure the party's flowing.
Yes, hell yeah, thank you, pal.